So like, what were some other interesting stats that came out of that study? Or anything you want to share for people listening as they're thinking through offering this type of benefit? And we haven't even touched on the other things that Maven does, but like offering a type of fertility or family planning benefit to their company.
Yeah, I think some of the other things that came up, frankly, relate to some of the comments that I shared with you earlier, of just what I hear from HR and benefits leaders, not only in terms of the number of employees or prospective employees and employers saying how important it is in their talent recruitment and retention processes. But I think it was nearly like 50%, particularly of Gen Z employees specifically, saying that reproductive and family health benefits have a very high correlation in terms of who they choose as their employer, right? And so that is, I think, a trend that is continuing to drive this becoming what you and I talked about as table stakes of this is not like a nice to have anymore, right? It's a need to have. Again, like the financial reimbursement piece is one piece of it, but just overall having resources for people in these various phases of life. And then what we also heard coming up in this report is that consolidation of benefits, right? As like, most employers are saying to us, I have this push to invest more, to be more inclusive, right? It's like do more with less, right?
The more but in order to do that, motto.
Yeah, exactly. In good company, that's pretty much what I always hear, regardless of how big or small the organization is. But nearly 40% of employers saying, we're actually going to do some consolidation because we're just at a breaking point. We can't do it anymore, right? And like, how do we maintain and preserve and actually increase the number of employees that are covered by the types of benefits we bring on board, but actually make it sustainable for us, right? Because that bubble that I talked about of like this point solution fatigue, it's actually not serving anybody. Neither is it serving the benefits teams who brought all of these point solutions on with such great intentions, right? But it's also not serving the employees because there's too many of them. They don't know where to find it. And it's a really, really, it's just a really disjointed experience for individuals.
Yeah, you don't want to it is hard enough navigating like insurance, but then to give your employees 6 systems that they're logging into, they're never going to use the benefit. And then all the hard work and thought that HR people put into getting these benefits, like behind closed doors, sometimes we have to fight for these things. And that,
I believe that.
I mean, that is like, it is just the truth that we are fighting for them. So like to fight for them endlessly, to like put your heart and soul into advocating for your employees, to only make them log into 10 systems into a benefit they're never going to use is just like,
what was it for?
What was it for? What was the fight for? And so like, I see the consolidation. I've even just talked about this a few weeks ago, the consolidation of just like HR tools in general outside of the benefits space. Nobody needs to be logging into like 10 systems. And so I feel like last 10 years, we saw like a lot of fractured, like one-off solutions pop up. And I feel like in the next 10 years, we're really going to see a consolidation and a streamline of the benefits, all the things, because it ends up being a better experience for the employee.
Better experience for everybody all around, right? I think what you also see though is like everyone, not everyone, but like a lot of organizations or a lot of vendors saying they do a lot more than they actually do, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where I hear from benefits leaders too, is like, everyone says the same thing now. I don't even know how to differentiate. And that's where your jobs get a little bit harder because you have to be detective, right? Of like, you say you do this, but you actually do it, or you just say you do it now because you know the consolidation is a high priority.